What do you really think of this Group 3 2018 Nissan GT-R on Gran Turismo 7? Well, I'm going to tell you exactly what I think of it after I've tested its acceleration, top speed, tyre wear, fuel consumption, performance under BOP on different tracks, upshift points and brake balance. That's right, I'm going to do the work so you don't have to. Coming up. Hello again and welcome to all newcomers. It's Jams here with a new Group 3 car comparison video. This time I'm testing the Nissan GT-R Nismo from 2018, and I'd like to thank JazC007 and Charles Fadiyomi for the request. First up, I'm testing the acceleration on this car over 5 separate runs. On each run I upshift at a specific point on the rev bar to establish how to get the fastest time out of it. The time for this first run is 27.731. For true comparison between the cars, there must be a strict format and rules so that you can be confident that all of the cars have been tested as equally as possible. Settings for this test are equal conditions on, BOP on, medium racing tyres with tyre wear set at ×1, fuel consumption at ×1 with 100 litres in the tank. All assists are off and all the car settings are off, including the brake balance. The time for the second run is 27.505. Rules for the actual test are that each run must start after one single outlap so that all the cars have the same fuel weight and tyre wear. Each run must start in the left lane at the start line and stay in that lane until the first split. Fuel consumption is showing on the HUD for 1 lap evidence. The time for this third run upshifting at 90% on the rev bar is 27.403. Knowing when to upshift your car matters in GT7. Watching these comparison videos is a small time investment for your success on the track. After the fifth run I'll show you the leaderboard with massive time variations for each car. I refer to these cars as either short shifters, standard shifters or full revvers. Standard shifting the GT-R at 100% on the rev bar gets a time of 27.347. Now I just want to mention a small side note here. Eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed that I'm only applying 75% throttle pressure at the start line. With full pressure this car instantly fills the rev bar and spins like I'm starting in mud. So this list shows all the different start techniques I tried to find the best way to get this thing off the line. It turns out that 75% throttle pressure, release handbrake, foot straight down was the quickest. It took me a while, but it's worth it to know. You guys are really making me work for my subs. Back to the main tests. The GT-R Nismo hits 100% on the rev counter at about 6,750 revs, and it tops out just before the 7,000, meaning there's hardly any room to fully rev it out before you top out and lose time. On this run I'm upshifting at 6,900 revs on the rev counter at the bottom of the screen towards the right. For VR users the dash offers loads of useless numbers that are no good for anything and the speedo is awful. So I'll provide an update for you after the BOP tests. This final run is 27.265. After all that messing around, the GT-R is actually quite nifty off the line, slotting into 4th overall, but at this stage I'm wondering if any car can actually beat the Corvette. On this table all the fastest upshift points are in red for each car. The GT-R is definitely a full revver, as are 7 others that I've tested so far. I've also found 3 short shifters, which means that out of 17 cars, only 6 are at their quickest by standard shifting them. How sure are you that you're getting the most out of your favourite ride by upshifting correctly? Next up is the first of 2 top speed tests, and this one is measuring flat out top speed. This test is carried out at Special Stage Route X because it has the longest straight in the game. I take the top speed reading at the 10,000 metre gate long after the downhill section has ended and if the speed has stayed the same for the final 600 metres. I speed up the footage to get us there quicker. Settings for this test are equal conditions on, BOP on, medium racing tyres with tyre wear off, fuel consumption at ×1 with 100 litres in the tank. Car settings include brake balance off, assists off and penalties off. The new fastest speed on this straight is 288 km/h and the GT-R is way off. It does manage to hold the same speed for the last 1100 metres and crosses the line at 281 km/h. We'll now move straight on to the second top speed test and compare both sets of results afterwards. The second top speed test is used to establish how quickly these cars can complete a lap at the Daytona Tri-Oval circuit. Some cars lose speed more than others through high speed cornering, and this track allows me to keep my foot flat to the floor all the way round. Settings are exactly the same as the last top speed test for this one. I have one out lap before the timed lap to get up to speed, and I stay as close to the yellow line as I can. The fastest lap round here so far is the Ford GT with 50.741, but it has a top speed of 288 km/h, and the GT-R is a second and 2/3 slower than it with 52.363. These are the last two top speed results for comparison. On the left we have the raw straight line speed, and the GT-R falls into 8th place with 281 km/h. On the right side, I still call it a top speed test because I'm using full throttle all the way around the lap. I want you to cast your eyes down to page 2 to see where the GT-R falls. The Corvette, Lamborghini, both Porsches, the Honda and the Renault all had slower straight line speed than the GT-R, but all of them are faster around the Tri-Oval. This confirms that the GT-R is rubbish at high speed cornering, even turning the wheel just slightly. Comparing it to other cars in the same speed bracket, it should be at least 3 to 4 tenths quicker than what it is. Let's move on. Next up we have the first of 3 balance of performance tests. On this one I'm testing a low speed BOP, and I use a Sardegna B layout for it. GT7 applies low speed BOP settings to all of the cars we're now racing under BOP restrictions on these displayed tracks. The GT-R does turn into corners well, but it feels light and slippy on the front end. It also has oversteer, loads of it. Through some of the corners it's quicker to short shift to third rather than trying to manage second gear exits, but you can still lose the rear end in third if you have too much steering angle. On turn 5 I've been exiting it in second sometimes as it helps to rotate the car. One thing that I've always been a bit confused about is how brake balance can affect the cars when I'm not actually braking. I understand the weight transfer bit on corner exit, but on long turn 3 here with no braking before it, the GT-R has much more front end grip at +4 than 0. I found this answer for us. In GT7, brake balance affects front end grip when not braking or during corner exit by managing the initial thermal load and wear on the front tyres. Moving the balance rearward reduces heat build-up and wear on the front tyres, maintaining a higher peak grip level for cornering. So basically less front brake balance equals less heat equals more grip. The suspension and brakes feel quite nice, but this car is not ideal for beginners as there's quite a lot to manage. The optimum time for this session is 1 minute 20.365. Fifth place is a solid result for the GT-R in this category and is keeping good company in this top 10. Its suspension and the ability to turn well in low speed corners results in a nice BOP setup for Sardegna B. You have to be able to handle the exit oversteer though, and it doesn't come close to how the new Porsche feels round here. On page 2 the Audi is only half a second off the lead, but that difference feels much greater on the track. I personally wouldn't select any of these cars for this track or similar low BOP tracks, as the performance just isn't there on the latest BOP update. For the mid-speed BOP test I used the Road Atlanta circuit. GT7 applies mid-speed BOP settings to all of the cars when they are racing under BOP restrictions on these displayed circuits. Settings for all three BOP tests are equal conditions on, BOP on, medium racing tyres with tyre wear set to ×1, I have 100 litres of fuel with usage set to ×1, car settings are all off except for brake balance, assists are off except for ABS which is set to default, and penalty settings are off except for shortcut penalties. To ensure fair fuel usage and tyre wear, each stint is no longer than 11 laps including an out lap. I usually do 3 or 4 stints per session to achieve the optimum times. Each stint starts with a full tank and fresh tyres. Optimum times may appear much quicker than the best lap times because of all the different combinations I've tried during the session. The GT-R is fun and brilliant through the mid-speed corners and sticks to the road like glue through the S's. Another thing is it loves the curbs. Whether you're riding a curb or bumping over one, it takes it in its stride with brilliant grip and suspension. The low speed corner exits are challenging, mainly the last corner before the back straight and the final chicane. I tried brake balance from 0 back to +5, but I couldn't nail these corners as I wanted to. I tried all these with double shifting to third out of the corner before the straight and third through the chicane at the end. But sometimes it just gets worse the more you try. The optimum time for this session was still a very good 1 minute 19.141. The GT-R enters this tight category in a solid 7th place with under 3 tenths covering the whole top 10. Finding just 1/10 somewhere would move it up to 3rd, showing how close it all is. The Audi and the new Porsche are still the only cars that have managed sub 1 minute 19 times. On page 2 there is a small gap from 10th place to 11th. When I look down the list I start to remember the various issues these cars had with the curbs, weight transfers and elevation changes. For the high-speed BOP test I use the main Daytona circuit. GT7 applies high-speed BOP settings to all of the cars when they are racing under BOP restrictions on these displayed tracks. Considering that the GT-R was terrible in the high-speed cornering test earlier in the video, and the fact that it suffers oversteer out of low-speed corners, I'm not expecting much at all here. As expected, I had to be really careful with the gas through sector 1. Brake balance further forward was slower and short shifting to third was also slower, so I've had to just get into the rhythm of straightening up before I floor it. Brakes and acceleration feel good, as well as suspension setup and front end grip. For VR users I can further update when to upshift using the LED lights in the dash. For this car I've been reduced to counting how many times the LED lights flash when I've moved beyond the 100% on the normal rev bar. 2 blinks for 3rd to 4th, 4 blinks for 4th to 5th and 10 blinks for 5th to 6th. Once you get into the rhythm of it, it's fine and you can save yourself a few crucial tenths per lap. I like producing these comparison videos for everyone and I'm really encouraged by the positive feedback I've received. I would like to carry on doing them beyond the BOP changes that PD introduce, but it has to be worth the amount of time I'm putting in. At present I'm not sure the YouTube algorithm is sharing my content with enough of the GT7 community, so if you appreciate the value to you in these videos, please like and subscribe to help grow the channel. Your input and feedback is always welcome and valued. The optimum time for the GT-R would have to be in the 1 minute 46s to top this leaderboard, but it finishes this session with a really disappointing 1 minute 47.591. So the GT-R is not getting anywhere near this top 10 and never will unless it has a significant buff in its high speed BOP settings. The first page of this leaderboard remains the same, with the Audi still on top. The top 5 are all brilliant around this circuit. The GT-R is terrible at Daytona and can only manage 15th place. No matter what I did, it just wouldn't return a competitive time. I honestly thought this car would be better than this before I started. It's a learning curve for me as well doing these tests. Finally, we're at Brands Hatch for the final 2 tests rolled into one. For these tests I'll be driving continuously from the pits until one of the tyres is worn. From that moment I'll work out how long the tyres have lasted and how much fuel I've used. Fuel consumption and tyre wear are a massive part of racing and should be a massive part of your thinking when selecting a car for certain events. It can be the difference between making one stop or 2. Settings for this test are equal conditions on, BOP on, soft racing tyres and tyre wear set to 5. The fuel tank is full with 100 litres and consumption is set to ×3. Car settings are all off except for brake balance. All assists are off except for ABS, which is set to default, and all penalty settings are off. Rules for all the cars is to drive them as I would race them based on learnings from all of the previous tests, and the car should be driven fast but not fast enough to risk going off track. So for this car that means I'm using +4 brake balance, as that is what has been best on 2 of the BOP tests, and I'm trying to fully rev the car when I can. This test is a long one and speeding up the video is terrible to watch, so I cut out the middle part and I return when the tyres are nearly worn. I'm back, and as you'd expect with a front mounted engine, it's the front left that's wearing out first. As much as this car spins out of slow corners, it really rides mid-speed corners well, and you can still race with confidence when the tyres are wearing thin. It feels like it's suited to this sort of track, but I'm not pushing for times here. It's all about the fuel and tyres, and this run will end after the next corner. On the top of the windscreen you can see I'm on lap 10. On this graphic the grey arrow indicates where I've stopped on the map, confirming that I've completed 9.5 laps. The top 10 remains the same in the tyre wear leaderboard. I encourage you to combine these test results with others to choose your cars. For example, on a high speed BOP track where tyre wear is an issue, this table and the high speed BOP table will tell you that the Ferrari, the Alfa 4C and the Ford GT are all excellent choices. The GT-R just misses out on the top 10 but not by much, and I would still consider its tyre wear to be acceptable. The bottom 4 here are not so good. Looking back at the bottom right of the in-car HUD, you can see I have 57% of fuel left, which seems a lot. I started with 100 litres, so I've used 43 litres of fuel. 43 litres divided into 9.5 laps means the GT-R is only using an amazing 4.53 litres per lap, slamming it into first place on this circuit. I didn't expect this at all, and second place isn't that close either. This is where we really start to learn things we wouldn't otherwise know when selecting a car for private league seasons or similar events. And finally, a look at page 2 of this category. Everything above 5 litres per lap is starting to look quite negative on this circuit. So to summarise my thoughts on this car, it has good grid starts and good acceleration with an average top speed. It loses a lot of speed through high speed corners though. It is a solid choice for low and mid speed BOP tracks, but it's a handful to handle and perhaps too challenging for beginners. I would avoid it for high speed BOP tracks. Tyre wear is average, but the fuel consumption is amazing for those tactical battles. It's a great car, but only for the right occasion. That's it from me. I appreciate you watching to the end and love reading your comments. Please like and subscribe and be sure to check out the other videos on the top right of the screen. See you next time.